Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm NURMIATI, class 8 2018 from the University of Sulawesi Barat, Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, majoring in English Education. So now I'm in the first semester of course, and I will explain the English course for a specific purpose, which is guided directly by our lecturer, Mr. Adisma. Well, without further ado, let's look at the following explanation. Let's take it. Well, in the first part, I would like to explain about the origin of ESP. In origin of ESP, there are 3 points will be focused. The first is the demand of a brave word. It is said that development of English has become a need and heart of people, and in terms of needs, English has the ability. And the second is a revolution in linguistics. English can emerge by the idea that language is seen from a different way. This is what encourages classes for specific groups of learners. And in the third is focus on the learner. Each learner has different needs. Their interest in subject will inspire learners in learning, thus making it easier for learners to achieve success in the needs they want. The next one is about the development of English for specific purpose. There are several stages in English for specific purpose. First, it's about spatial language register analysis concept. The aim of spatial language register analysis concept is to produce a syllabus that gives high priority to the forms of language students will encounter in their serenity studies, and in turn will give low priority to those they will not encounter. The second process is beyond the sentence, theoretical or discourse analysis. English for specific purpose has focused on language at the sentence level. The second stage of development sets attention to the level above the sentence. As English for specific purpose becomes closely involved with emergent fields, of discourse or theoretical analysis. And the third is the target situation analysis. The aim is to take existing knowledge and lay it on a more scientific foundation by establishing procedures for relating language analysis more closely to learners' reasons for learning. The fourth is skills and strategies. The principal idea behind a skill-centered approach is that underpinning all language use, there is a common process of reasoning and interpretation which, regardless of the response, enables us to extract meaning from discourse. And the last process is a learning-centered approach. All of the steps described so far have fundamental flaws, all of which are based on description of language usage. But the English for specific purpose that concerns us is language learning. Okay, we are on the third part. It's about the sign cast. The sign cast is a process of changing interpretation or assessment that relates teaching experience. In this study, there are 3 types that can be taught. The first type is cast design is language oriented, which aims to illustrate the direct relationship between situation, analysis, and content of the English for specific purpose class. And the second type is the class design, which is oriented towards skill in teaching. Is carried out through two principles, namely hypothesis and pragmatic basis. And the last type is approach-oriented approach, which means that in this case, the main goal is the teacher. The learning process can be known to their knowledge and skill. Next part is about theories of learning. Language can only be properly understood as a reflection of human thought processes. Language learning is conditioned by the way in which the mind observes, organizes, and stores information. The first theory is behaviorism, learning as a habit formation. Learning is a mechanical process of habit formation and results by means of repeated reinforcement of a stimulus-response sequence. And the second theory is mentalism, thinking as a rule-governed activity. Learning is not just a form of habit, but a rule of learning, the process by which individual experiences are used with thought to formulate provisional hypotheses or conjectures. Mentalism sees children as humans who have their own creativity. And the third theory is cognitive thought, learners as thinking beings. Students will learn when they are actively thinking about what they are learning. And the first part is about need analysis. What distinguishes English word-specific purpose from general English is lies in the awareness of those needs. This awareness will have an influence on what will be accepted as a proper context in the language course. And next is gathering information about target needs. Information can be obtained through several ways, such as questionnaires, interviews, research, data collection, or information consultation with sponsors, students, or others. Well, we are on the last part. It's about a process design. A learning model is a process in which raw data about learning needs is interpreted to produce an integrated series of teaching experiences aimed to guide learners to certain knowledge. There are several approaches in the design of English for specific purpose learning. The first is a language-oriented learning model, which is aimed to draw a direct relationship between the analysis of the target situation and what things are contained therein. The second learning model is a skill-oriented learning, which is formed on two principles, including a theoretical hypothesis which underlines that some language habits are certain skills and strategies which are used to generate discussion, while the second is the pragmatic basis, which is obtained from the difference between the objectives and the learning process. The third learning model is a learning-oriented approach, based on the principle that learning is very much determined by students, where it can be seen that there is a process of students using the knowledge or skills they have acquired to create new information flows.